And we are back. The
Yes.
McBiz radio program on Wednesday at 5:07?
5:06-ish. Yeah.
Not to put too fine a point on it.
Right.
Good to be back again.
Yes. Good to have you in the big seat.
Yeah. I'm filling in for John again. John had some stuff he had to take care of. So I said, yeah, I'll do it. I love doing the show.
Yeah. Well, congratulations. Thank you very much. Appreciate you being here.
And when I pulled up, I saw the blue and pink car. And I said,
Right.
oh, Jeff's our guest tonight. So
You mean it's not a van? Everybody says it's a van.
yours is a car.
It is a car.
It is a car.
It is a car.
Okay,
it's a pink car.
See, lately, if someone questions anything I say, I'm like, okay, what did I do? 'Cause I'm just not sure anymore.
Right. Yeah, but that's the curious thing, Jeff. We have Jeff Endress from Molly Maid is with us, and oftentimes people say, "Oh, I see your pink cars." Well, the cars are not pink, but the lettering is.
Well, the pink stands out,
and isn't that amazing? But that's what they remember is the pink. Isn't that amazing?
So it works.
And John, you were absolutely correct. It is a blue car with pink logos.
Exactly. So I knew Jeff's here, so that's cool. I don't think I've ever done this show with you, we've talked about a bunch of stuff before, but never on the radio live in front of 5s and 10s of people.
Hundreds of thousands. Yes.
I'm just kidding. I'm very sarcastic today.
Are you? Yeah.
I'm in a sarcastic mood. It's one of those days.
You know, Lee Carroll used to joke about the listenership, but then he would be at Publix or Walmart, places elsewhere,
right.
Or Martin County High, and then people would approach him. Oh, I listen to your show, and he would add them to his numeric account. So by the time he left here, he had the number. It was pretty substantial.
Was it? See, I've never had that happen, except for members of the club.
Right.
I said, "Oh, I heard you on the radio show. It was fun." I said, "Yeah, it's fun." And our guest last week was nervous ahead of time.
Yes.
And then he sent me an email. He said, "Hey, thanks. You made it really." I said, "Look, we're just talking.
Right.
We're 3 guys in a room talking, and that's kind of what we're doing for the next, hour-ish or so."
Yes.
So talking about.
And to the point you said, I've done this show quite a few times, and every time everybody's like, "Oh, I heard you on the radio,"
right.
And it's a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun. We have more fun than we should have for those 55 minutes.
Is this legal?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
In Martin County, at least so far.
It's, so far, so good.
As long as we're not hacked by the Russians, we'll be fine.
Right.
So we often talk about the businesses that we're supposed to talk about, but most of the time we don't. Most of the time we just talk about other stuff.
We shoot the breeze.
We do.
But, and that's good because Jeff's got an interesting personal history. Out of the 3 of us in the room, he's the only one here that's a native Floridian.
True story.
Really?
See?
Yes.
Okay.
I was born in Sarasota.
Okay.
And when I was very young, at 2 years old, I was raised from that point on in Miami.
Wow.
Southwest Miami. They call it Sunnyland, Florida. Okay. Now it's Pinecrest Lakes area.
And you're probably one of the few people listening who are natives too. We probably don't have a whole lot of natives percentage-wise.
Yeah.
Martin County, Florida is not so much, lots of tourists, lots of transplants like me.
Right.
And my family. My kids are born here, but not me.
Right.
That was always the fun part of going to like a Miami Dolphins game. You're outnumbered.
Yes. The few Dolphins games I've been to have been with when the Giants played, when the Jets played, and I think 1 or 2 playoff games. And when the Giants played, there was this whole big blue section of the cheap seats, obviously, because we didn't have season tickets. But like there was this whole crew, and then the Jets game too was huge. The East Coast. I mean, how many New Yorkers and people from New Jersey? Like lots of us.
Right.
So
we're natives are definitely outnumbered.
Yeah, I think so.
But now I guess people say, "Oh, you've been here since '78. You're a native." I was like, "Oh, yeah, kind of."
Yeah, so I refer to it as semi-native.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, but all our kids are natives.
My kids are natives.
See, so when you ask them what exit, do they say my kids know?
They know it now. They know it now from the New Jersey stuff. But I think one of my eldest was born in Palm Beach Gardens. My other one was born in Palm Beach Gardens, and the other one was born in Martin County. No, 2 were born in Martin County.
Martin Memorial.
Yeah. So
very cool.
And now they're spread to the 4 corners. Well, no, they're local. One kid's in Orlando. They were in Tallahassee. Now the one's in Orlando, one's in PSL, and one lives with me actually. So
all right,
temporarily, yeah. So
nice.
But let's get
free labor.
Occasionally he will do that, but he works full time now. He just got a job over at Triumph making airplane parts.
Oh wow!
So he's loving it. He's learning all sorts of new stuff. It's a great place, and
I thought they did motorcycles.
Not that Triumph.
Oh, It's a different
not that
one.
dry.
Oh,
He would like that too, probably.
Yeah.
But he's digging it. He's digging. He's learning all this new set of skills, and it's funny because he's always late night kid, and now he has to be at work somewhere between 5 and 6 a.m. in the morning. Ouch. But he's adapted, so it's been
Good
great
for him.
Yeah. So
I took a tour of that plant when it was Grumman. Before it was Northrop Grumman.
We moved a bunch of stuff in Grumman when it was Grumman, and then what was the other thing that was attached to that? There was another nuclear or something or other that was attached to that. But I've been in that building a bunch back in the day.
Right.
But it's cool, big buildings, but it's changed a lot.
And they had these big acid baths where they give the metal parts a thorough cleaning, a special
Do they
metallurgic
pickle the metal?
They do. Occasionally they do. Yes, depends upon if they're working with galvanized or not. Yes, exactly. Anyways,
but we're not here to talk about that.
No.
We're here to talk about business.
What
We gotta get serious. Right?
Okay.
People are counting on us.
All right.
Try
All
on
right.
face business.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's true. That is true. So, but yeah. So, tell us the circuitous route and how you and your wife became owners of Molly Maid.
Pretty neat history. I started off as a young kid in Miami, and we lived just on the outskirts of a real nice exclusive area, but we were like one block in the school district. So going to school, I never had the nice clothes, the OP back then, and status symbol items. So I always wanted them. My mom said, no, this is all you got is $10 for a pair of shoes. And I wanted the $50 Nike shoes. So I decided to take the lawnmower and go out and mow the neighbor's yard. And then I ended up mowing a couple other neighbor yard. And then I had enough money to buy the shoes and buy the pants and the clothes. And I said, hey, this is a pretty good gig. I can make it money on my own. As the Miami heat and summers came and I got a little older, I said, hey, I want more of an air conditioned job. So here I was, a 14-year-old kid, and started off at Publix, applied, and they're like, you can't get into Publix. They don't just hire 14-year-old kids. Somehow or another, a manager liked me. I got a job there. And as I was working there, I was like, man, I want a car. And my parents said, nah, we're not getting you a car. So said, maybe if I could get that next promotion, maybe I could be a stock clerk and I can make a little more money. Worked hard, became a stock clerk. Ended up buying my first car. It was a Camaro, beautiful little 68 Camaro. Wish I still had it.
Right? Yeah. Right.
Remember the engine you had in there?
305.
Yeah. Stock,
stock 2-barrel. It was fast enough for me. I made it to from Miami to Sarasota in like 2.5 hours once, doing about a good 100 miles an hour down the trail the whole way. But anyway, live to tell about that story.
Statute of limitations is up on that traffic violation. So if there's any Martin County sheriffs out there or state troopers,
just put your fingers in your ear going, no. Yeah.
Those guys say we were young and dumb and survived it. That was back in the day. So I enjoyed Publix. When I finally got to the point where graduation was coming, I said, I was going to Miami-Dade Community College, enjoyed college, but one day my store manager showed me his bonus check, and it was $30,000 bonus check. He got 4 of those a year every time we had a inventory. Said, you know what? Forget college. I want to be a store manager. So I worked real hard, got promoted to Boca Raton to what they called the third man back then got promoted to second assistant, and then grocery manager through the chain. I ended up having 22 years of Publix.
Wow.
What was neat was back in Miami, my boss, one of my other managers, he was a third man. He said, you got to meet my sister. You'd like my sister. I'm like, nah. She's older than you, man. That's not going to work. And then one day I saw her and I said, yeah, I want to meet your sister. Met her, and she was an associate at Burdines back in the day. She was, when Publix promoted me to the Boca Raton area, we were engaged, and she moved up to the Boca area with me. And then we ended up getting married. She made it to assistant store manager at Burdines. And then later it became Macy's. She did not like the Macy's change at all. It went from small corporate to a huge corporate world. So she decided that she was going to retire and start back then. Let's buy some real estate. Let's buy some homes and let's invest in fix and flips and fix and rent. I was like, okay, that's what you want to do. That's fine. Tried that for a while. As fast as we got into that is about as fast as we got out of that. I did not, because guess who became property manager?
Right.
Fixer upper, cleaner upper. It was me. Here I am working all these hours as a manager of Publix, and my day off, I had all these things that she needed me to do. It was just absolutely amazing. So then when we're getting out of that business, she's asleep when I leave for work. She's asleep when I come home from work. And then when I had a day off, she still had a list of things for me to do. So we started looking around at different franchises. We figured at this point in time in life, decided that we want to be self-employed, but we didn't know what to do or how to do it. Went with a franchise broker and looked at about 3 or 4 franchises. And we just really enjoyed the Molly Maid model, where it was recurring revenue.
Right.
You answer the phone, you show up, you do a good job, and customers appreciate that and want you to continue to come back. And we decided to make that leap and bought the Molly Maid franchise 13 years ago. And now we're up. It's 13 years. We have over 40 ladies and clean about 250 homes a week.
Wow.
And all we did was we took those corporate models that we had and learned how to establish those and utilize our education in that world into our small little business. So what makes it fun is we run our little business like it's a corporate world.
Right.
Everything has a protocol. Everything has any time of the phone rings and a customer has a question, we know the answer or a protocol and what to do and how to do. So it's really helped us.
That's good. 13 years. Martin County is a good market for that too. Lots of retirees, lots of people that want to clean their houses.
It has. This county has really been our niche neighborhood. We service from Vero Beach, State Road 60, all the way down to West Palm Beach, North Lake, about the North Lake area, and out to to Okeechobee. But our bread and butter is right here, Martin County.
I would imagine, yeah.
That's really is. And the employees, they get paid by the job, not by the hour. So they really like not having to drive far. It was brought up in the meeting at the MCBE McBiz meeting today. You don't go to this area. Yes, we do. We will travel to that area, but we'd like to go there on the day we have 3 or 4 other homes. So the team, when they drive out that way, they have plenty of work,
right, and
make more money that way.
That's good. That's good. So it's been a good thing.
It's all about logistics and planning. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And amazing with the franchise, they have this computer system. It's Google Live. So it prints on the worksheet, drive time, work time, drive time. We can't overbook them, underbook them. It kind of keeps everything pretty consistent and keeps the pricing and the work schedule consistent for the employee and the customer. So I remember when we first opened, we'd have 4-hour windows. We'll get there between this time, that time. And it was pretty much either morning or afternoon. Then it went to 3-hour windows, 2-hour windows. Now we're down to about a half-hour window. So it's just amazing how technology's helped us.
Yeah, that's good, because nobody wants to sit around your house for a half a day waiting for something.
So when you say the word window, you're not talking about glass. You're talking about the time frame, right?
Correct.
Okay. All right. So because a lot of cleaning companies say we don't do windows. Right. But you do windows, right?
We do the interior of the windows. We
Yes.
do not remove screens, and we're not out on scaffolding and long poles or anything like that. I like to say we got the prima donnas. They're inside. They're doing the nice work, and that kind of thing. And then there are commercial window cleaners that we recommend and refer. That's what they do, and they do a much better job.
Yeah, because they're set up for it.
Exactly.
You know, one of the things that you mentioned this morning at breakfast, and I thought this was just fascinating. Franchise companies have they have a certain amount of control over the franchisees, right?
Absolutely.
But in your case, you found out very quickly that you needed to kind of have to go off script a little bit and develop your own business model, because the template really wasn't working for you. I thought that was fascinating.
Yes, and most
And
people
they let you do it, right? Because you
Every-
report back to them, explain to what you're doing.
a lot of people ask, why would you do a franchise? You have to pay royalties. I happily pay those royalties. They help with marketing. They help with the computer programs and the model to be successful. But yes, what I did find out, and one of the reasons my wife and I decided to go with the Molly Maid franchise is it's small government, few rules. They tell you and teach you. One of the first things they teach you is go in and tell a customer, this is the price. It's a flat price, period. And you tell the customer what you're going to do. It didn't take me but 2 or 3 months to find out that customers want to tell us what to do, and maybe they don't want to spend that much money, or maybe they want to spend more money and for better quality and different things. So we do hourly rates, which are so wonderful because we customize each clean to the customer's needs. It gives them the opportunity to build a relationship with the team. So even when I go out and do an in-home estimate, it's just an estimate. And what'll happen is after the team's been at the home about 3-4 visits, they built that relationship with the customer and really customized the clean. It's a lot of fun. When part of my job, my wife and I working together, we split up our jobs where she's in the office and manages office staff, and I'm out checking on teams. And I love that part of the job. I got a great story after the break on one of the quality checks that I did, but it's really neat. But our office is a 2,000 square foot room. By design, no walls. My wife and I have our desk on one side. Marshall and Rachel have their desk on the other side. All the employees get there about 8:15. We get them out the door about 8:15, 8:30. And my wife and the office staff manage all the phone calls and moment-to-moment operations. All the associates, when they get back, they report back to our office. We're just kind of checking with them, making sure things are good, high-fiving them and thanking them for their hard work and going over their route sheets and stuff like that. But,
so you say you have 40 women that work for you?
yes.
So what's that, 20 cars?
20 cars.
I bet that's fun to keep track of.
That's pretty much, we try to keep Marshall's pretty much doing that. She keeps track of mileage, and then once a month all the cars get tire rotations and tire checks, not rotations but tire checks, and they check the fluids, and then at every so many thousand miles we get oil changes, tire rotations,
right,
and just preventative. But
fleet maintenance is fun.
It's a ton of fun. Chris Travis agrees. Him and I have that in common.
Yeah. How many trucks does he have? Quite a few too, right?
And he's got big trucks too.
Yeah.
He does the fertilizing and yard care. So he's got some big ones along with the little ones.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I don't know what we're going to, I don't know what we should talk about. I mean, you talk about the story, like you say you have a story, like that's what I'm interested in. Like the
stories are great.
Yes.
Yes.
We don't have the breaks.
We got maybe 6 minutes.
Can you do it in 6 minutes?
How many minutes do we have after the break?
We've got.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you a story about my wife and I.
Okay.
This is a fun story. I can probably do in 6 minutes. When we first opened the business, a lot of people ask, how in the world do you work with your spouse? Well, I tell you what, in the very beginning, we thought it was going to be fantastic. And we found out very quickly it's very challenging. And especially when you had 2 managers starting this business off together, we're both trying to tell each other what to do. So I learned very quickly, very early on, get out of the office. And I did. I ran the first route the first year, so it was a very humbling experience. Really learned a lot about the business. Did most of the training. We didn't have a core group of employees, so I was out training the employees and developing those core employees. So we had our first customer, which was, I'll just make up a name. This is not an actual name, but it was
an idea. Yes. Make up a name.
Say it's Smith.
Mrs. Smith there's always someone on Mrs. Smith
or Jones. So we'll call it, say, Smith Jones. And when we would start arguing or having disagreements, and it was a Friday or it was a Saturday or it's just any time, we'd go, Jones Smith. And that just automatically means zip it, stop whatever you're doing, and let's just go on to next topic, next subject. But it was so challenging. I have a lot of firearms around the house. And I joke, this didn't actually happen, but I told my neighbor to come over. We put all the weapons in the safe, told him to change the combinations. So neither one of us knew any combinations until we could figure this out.
That's
But
very.
it was,
I'm sure there's the pros and cons for that, for working with your spouse.
it's been fantastic. And now it's so funny. I see people who retire out and they're like, and they'll tell me when I'm doing estimates, I don't know how to get along with my spouse. We've never been together this much.
Spend that much time together in the same house. Yeah, exactly.
So now we're I always joke with my wife, we're prepared. We can go to a diner and split a meal. And I'm like, look, we're just like the couple over there.
Exactly.
We could go for the early bird, split it, and we get along fine.
But are you talking while you do that, though? I see so many people, elderly, that are just out. And this is not even looking at their cell phones. They're just out and they're just eating their meal and they're like, there's nothing.
No,
They're just eating their meal. And, fine. You don't have to be, you can't be lovey-dovey 24/7 for 50, 40, 50, 60 years. I understand that, but still, it's just, I don't know.
we're talking. We make a great team, her and I.
That's good. That's good.
It was just the first 2 years that were tough, but it's fun now. And like I said, we'll just go Quasha. Just say
exactly. Well, my parents did that too when they first moved down. When they first bought the business, they would, my dad was in corporate stuff in New York, in the moving business, and my mom worked in one of the municipalities in Jersey. And so when they came down here, it was like, full tilt boogie. You're at the business, 40, 50 hours a week, doing estimates. I was in college, but they spent a lot of time together, initially, and they did great. It's still, I'm sure there was challenges. I mean, I heard some of the stuff when I got home. Of course, people have disagreements, but it's a whole challenge to do that with your spouse. So kudos to you, sir.
Well, thank you. Thank you. We actually get along very well. And believe it or not, when we're off, we're always together. It's pretty weird. It's pretty strange.
So
I do like to scuba dive, and I scuba dive a lot on the weekends, but and my wife's taking photography classes, so
Nice.
she's getting excited about that and kind of developing our own hobbies. My wife scuba dives as well, but she doesn't like to go every week like I do. So.
Well, it's like you can talk when you're scuba diving anyway. So. at least I don't,
Yeah, most of the words just sound like bubbles.
that might be a great husband and wife thing to do.
That's right.
Good.
Just
I can't wait.
smile and wave, boys. Just smile and wave.
I can't wait to tell you about some of our associates and some stories behind some of those.
We love
visits.
the stories. The stories
All
make
right.
this show fun.
All right, well, stick with us because we've got much more to tell you when we return.
Grab a bucket and mop. From the bottom and top. There is nothing so clean as my burger machine.
That's the only thing that came to mind. I wanted to come up with something cleaning oriented.
That was good.
All right.
That was great.
Frank and his
Every now and
bumper
again.
music.
That's fantastic.
There you go.
Frank gets a gold star for today.
Okay.
So we're back to stories because
Yes.
I think we all like to hear stories about business, about weird stuff, about fun stuff.
Mhm.
Because I think people who are listening to this show are probably in some sort of business or know of friends who are and like to hear the backstory of stuff, like backstage at a show or just something like that.
Yeah, the
So,
inside skinny.
exactly.
Right?
Like what goes on behind the scenes, which is interesting. So what do you got?
What do I got?
Come on, Jeff. What do you got?
Spill the beans.
I got plenty of stories, but this one happened just the other day, just yesterday, as a matter of fact. And it's a great story. So our teams go to the regular customers' homes. They go weekly, every other week, third week, or monthly, and they develop these wonderful relationships. Well, we acquired and I did the estimate over the phone. I never been in this house. I had never met this customer. And the team just absolutely loved going there. And they've been going there for a year now, a little over a year. Well, it so happened that the one young lady, she became a CNA and moved up to a different company, and another. So her partner was with her and everything was kind of okay. The partner became the team leader and got a new partner, and it was kind of okay. And then they started grumbling like, "Oh, we don't want to go to this house." I'm like, "But it's 3 hours once a week, 3 hours once a week." And they're like, "But it's not our usual work." And I go, "What's going on?" "Well, she has us do weird things." I go, "What do you mean weird things?" "Well, you just got to come by." Well, so the team that loved to be there the new team didn't love to be there, but they both were out sick yesterday. So now we're introducing a whole new team to this customer that's had us for a year, that had a team that loved her.
Right.
So I'm like, I need to go by. I tell the office staff, I need to go by and check out this team, this customer. So after the team's been there maybe half an hour, I'll schedule myself to show up. I show up and the team's outside and they got gloves on, they got a mask on, they got, and they're just like, "Jeff, it's really a tough house. It's really a tough house, but we love this lady, this customer." I'm like, "Okay." So I said, we are outside and they were bringing stuff from the customer's van into the house. And I hear the customer say, "Hey, after you bring that stuff in, I got some stuff that needs to go out to the van." I'm going, "Okay." So I walk in, I meet the customer, and she's like, "Oh, I'm so glad I get to meet you in person. Oh, let the lady show you my house." I'm like, "Great, that's why I'm here." Well, I walk in the door and she has a big lazy boy chair right next to the door. So that was, as I'm talking to her, I'm kind of looking over and I find out it's a hoarder's house. And the house is just like what you see on television, where it's basically paths going through the home. And and as I walk through the home, the employees are showing me, even on the bed is covered. Yep. So she sleeps in her chair and she has in her bedroom another big chair.
I've been in several of those over the years. Yep.
So, it's just amazing. And
it is.
So I'm going around, I'm trying to figure out, and I've cleaned many hoarders' homes and been in hoarders' homes, and that's what we do. I mean, we do whatever customers need. In this particular team, absolutely adored this woman. And they showed me a few things, and the main thing was just that they had to pick up some clothes, put it in the laundry, and get the laundry started. Once they got the laundry started, then in some other few situations I don't need to get into, but then the masks come off, the gloves come off, and they're happy. And then the customer's like, "Hey, I bought some squares of carpet, some throw rugs. Can you pick up the old throw rugs, put these throw rugs?" So what it comes down to is they're not even cleaning. So the team that didn't like the home, it wasn't the typical walk-ins. I'm going to do the bathroom. My partner's going to start in this room, top to bottom, ceiling fans, air vents, window sills down to baseboards, vacuum up. She's like, and this customer was so sweet. She's like, "Oh, and over here, and she sat in her chair the whole time, but she knew where everything was, everything she wanted moved and done and completed. And So I ended up sitting there in a chair not across from hers, chatted with her, talked with her for about 40 minutes, and really got to know her. She was a wonderful person. She had 3 bookstores in the area, but her husband has dementia care and she's handicapped now. So she visits her husband every day. She's semi-handicapped and she just loves Molly Maid and the service. And she goes, you know what? I've never seen one of your employees upset, mad, and they always are yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, and they treat me like gold. And she goes, kudos to Molly Maid for having those kinds of ladies.
Nice.
And by the time I left, she's hugging me, giving me a kiss on the cheek, and just thanking me for the service. So a lot of times what it comes out to is we have 18 different teams going out to homes, but it's not always the team. It's not always the clean. It's the personalities.
Right.
So a lot of times when I am doing in-home estimates, I'm trying to figure out the right personality for the home. And this particular home, now that I've been in it, I went back to the office and said, these are the 3 teams that I would recommend for this home. Let's rearrange things around for that schedule.
Yep. That's good.
We have teams. You can't even, you send them into a clean house and they'd walk in and go, what am I supposed to do? The house is already clean. And those customers, believe it or not, are the hardest customers to make happy. They're the hardest homes to clean, because if the team misses one little thing, the customer's going to know, because those homes are so clean.
Right.
But we have 3 or 4 teams that's what they do all day. They go into the really clean homes. You send them in a dirty home and they'll go, I don't know what to do. It's
too much.
Yeah. But then you have the teams that go into homes that the hardworking family, like my wife and I used to be, and they're working all kinds of hours, and the kids are working, they're going to school functions, and every moment of their day from before the sun rises till after it sets, they're busy, and they have 3 dogs, 2 cats, what have you. Those teams go in and make everything so much better. They're just happy, and they, so.
Right.
So it's really interesting how the different personalities.
Well, that makes sense. If you once you think about it, there has to be different personalities for different situations for that. So yeah, the hoarder situation is very specialized.
Oh yes.
Like I said, I've been in probably in the 40 some odd years I've been doing what I've been doing.
And what is it you do?
Moving and storage.
What's the name of the company?
Stewart Moving Service. This is your time, Jeff.
This is your time too. So we gotta.
Stewart Moving Service. But when my parents bought it, was Golden Gate Moving and Storage.
You pick things up and move things?
We do. We pick up heavy things and put them in different places.
He moved my entire store from here in Stewart to my new shop.
Yes, we did.
Yes.
We do lots of...
It was a moving experience.
We do lots of interesting moves. Again, different situations. But like I said, in 40 some odd years of doing this, I've been into, I'd say 5 of true, like classic hoarder, hoarder TV kind of homes. And to be true, every single one of those customers, I do remember, were just sweethearts.
Oh, fantastic people.
But obviously there's issues that they're dealing with, because, it's not normal to live like that. But they were just sweethearts, and they were so nice. And a couple of times we couldn't move them. Like sometimes, I think we'd moved about 3 or 4 of the 4 or the 5. I don't remember. There was a couple that we just didn't do for, maybe we were priced too high, because you walk in, you go, I've been doing this a long time, but like, wow. There's a lot of stuff.
Wow.
I was just in one recently. I was thinking about 3 or 4 months ago, little small 3-bedroom house in Jensen Beach, in the Skyline area. So it was older Jensen house, and it was
neat area.
It was a very neat area, and it was neat because they actually had a 3/4 level basement. It was a very low, but it was a basement in Florida, which is very unusual.
Very unusual. Indeed,
I think the basement, I had to bend down, so the basement was like 6 feet.
Right.
But picture this: they had a 3-bedroom home, small home, in 1950s home in Jensen Beach with a small basement, some outdoor stuff, and they had easily 2 tractor trailers full of stuff.
Wow.
Stuffed into that environment.
Wow.
And it was just like, whoa, you have a lot. I mean, I kept on walking around, and the more stuff, and then, we have a basement too. I said, oh, really? So I walked downstairs, and they had a basement, and lovely people, just sweethearts. We did not get that job. I guess it was, I wish them luck wherever they went with, but they were just nice people. But it's an interesting, you and I get to see a lot of interesting things, because you and I are in lots of persons' homes.
Yeah, I can't even consider my position a job. It's so fun just being able to do estimates and talk. I'm a very extroverted person, so it's fun to meet people, see their homes, and also the reward. Living in Stewart, and it's being a small town, I always say there's 2 degrees of separation. I'm bumping into my customers all the time wherever I go, and it's just a thank you. I'm not hiding. It's so rewarding for people to come up and say, "Oh, Jeff, the ladies they're part of my family almost."
Because you've got the recurring customers that stay local. Most of the people that I go into their houses are moving out of the area, so I don't get to often see them very much. But the fun part of your business and my business is absolutely getting out there and meeting people, doing the estimates, and just seeing different houses. Like one of my friends from college, when we met up 5-10 years ago at one of their unions. He said, it must be really interesting to just to go around in people's houses, because I get to open up all the doors, all the closets. I get to, whatever they don't hide underneath the bed or in the safe, I can see. And you see some interesting things, in people's houses after a while. So, but not so much, I guess, in the painting business. They come to you and get stuff.
The blind. I did a lot of blind installations.
Oh, did you? Okay.
So I would go out. I'd work my entire, shift at the shop. And then I'd go home, have dinner, and then I would go out and do measurements and estimates.
Okay.
Right. And so shortly after the dinner hour, then my customers had finished their dinner, they'd be available. And I would go in there and just quickly measure, price out a job, and then take the order. 2 weeks later, I'm back doing the install,
Yeah, but you're not in their closets. They don't have blinds installed in their closets, do they, Frank?
During the 80s, during the big construction boom, right? In the early 90s, what was happening was oftentimes I was the last trade in new homes under construction. There was a lot of folks that were building houses, owner builders. And so I'd be the last trade in there, hanging the blinds as the moving truck is backing up into the driveway. So that was...
Just get out of our way, Frank. Stay out of our way.
Yeah, I know. I wanted to make sure I was out of your way. But it was pretty neat. And and it was a great experience. And all the customers, I loved dealing with them. And you develop those relationships. And of course, after you do the jobs, there's maybe friends or neighbors or maybe some additional work that they want to have done. And it's all about building relationships.
Yeah, we've done a couple of multiples over the years. We've had a couple of high-end that have stayed, like say in Sewell's Point, and moved to Sailfish, and then back from Sailfish back to Sewell's Point, and we've moved them several times. And there's, I built a new house on the water, so we're going to move them there. So there's a few that are over the years for something like us. But like I said, most of the time we're moving somebody out of the area.
Yeah.
Oh, time for another break.
It's our last break, so stick with us. We'll have much more to cover.
Maybe I'll have another story.
Well, I was going to say, we need another story.
Yes, indeed.
It involves one of our members.
Okay. Ooh. Uh-oh. Ruh-roh.
Cliffhanger.
Right. Yeah, cliffhanger. We'll be right back.
And we are in the home stretch of this week's edition of McBiz Radio with our guest / friend, Jeff Endres from Molly Maids, telling us some cool stories.
Yes.
What is the Martin County Business Exchange?
It's a conglomerate, powerful business conglomerate that's
Yeah.
taking over Martin County. No, it's a great social networking business club that's been around for a long time. I realized a
and
couple
you're
of weeks
one
ago.
of the senior members.
Now I am. Yeah.
Yes.
I did not realize that. How can that be when I'm one of the youngest members? I don't know how that works.
It's an anomaly.
It is. It's
Yes.
one of those fascinating mysteries. But no, it's a great group of business people that have been around for a while, and some new members too. Quality business people, and we refer work to each other, and we get together on Wednesdays. Most of you do anyway. Wednesday mornings. Some of us don't attend as regularly as we ought to, or because of business. It's hard for me because I got guys to dispatch in the morning, and it's just tough to do that. I do my best, but.
Yes.
How long have you been a member?
I've been a member 12 years now.
Wow.
When we first opened, we had such a great reputation in the community. 3 or 4 members of the McBiz invited me in to be guests. I'm like, what is this McBiz? What is this McBiz? I'm doing chamber events and tried some other organizations. And I finally said yes after a year, kind of underqualified to be a member, but loved the group so much. I said told my wife, this is the only group I need to be a member of. And what was neat is when I first opened, you think, how hard is it to run a maid service? Well, how hard is it to start a small business?
Right.
There are so many questions.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I had 60, 70 fellow members helping me. How do you handle this? What do you do when this happens? What happens when you get a quasha? Smith Jones.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So that was 12. So where were we having breakfast when you joined?
We were at the Elks Club.
Oh, we were at the. Have we been
Yeah.
to the Elks Club that long?
That
Yeah.
long, yes.
See, I have no concept of time.
I know.
It's terrible.
You're definitely a Floridian. When you
You-
don't have any concept
You
of
start
time.
banging
then-
on drums.
I bang on drums a little bit.
yeah, mostly
That
your
might-
guitar,
yeah,
right?
it's
mostly
Acoustic.
guitar,
Yeah.
Okay.
Mostly guitar.
Yeah.
But I do.
I remember one of the club soirees. Yeah, I saw you banging on drums.
It was guitar.
Oh, it was
guitar,
guitar.
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
You were there with your buddy doing
we
an
had-
acoustic duo.
Had acoustic duo for a while.
Yeah.
My buddy Eddie Preeman and I had
Mhm.
acoustic. We were both from Jersey, so of course we called the duo What Exit. And we've done I think 2 of the Martin
Mhm,
County things
mhm.
over the years, and because of timing, it's fun to play for you guys, and we just have a good time playing. But yeah,
Maybe that explains time loss situations.
I think the 80s. I think the 80s have a lot to do with it.
Be
The late
very
70s,
good to
early
me.
80s. perhaps. But no,
Great.
so we've been there that long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long?
Easily.
How long have you been a member?
We were, goodness, I lost track of time. I couldn't even tell you. I think we were meeting over at the Holiday Inn.
Okay, I'm not sure I remember that one.
Yeah.
I've
yeah.
always heard the Flamingo.
Flamingo, Blue Moon. I started the Blue Moon.
Mhm.
Yeah, I remember that. But but they were actually, I think
there was
for-
Perkins for a little while.
There was
I went to
Perkins.
Perkins.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because the
Short-lived
Flamingo turned into
Perkins.
Perkins, didn't it, or vice
Yeah.
versa? One of those things.
Yeah.
But-
Yes.
So you were in before I was, I think, weren't you?
Yeah. No.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Well after you.
Really?
Yeah.
So I'm the old man in the room.
You are.
Hate
You
that.
are. Sorry to say.
Oh well.
Yeah.
Such as all right. So you got one more story, right, Jeff? You were give us a
I have a
cliffhanger for
story.
one more story. We
Yeah, I
have a
have
couple
a-
minutes.
Well, so here I am, brand new, Molly Maid. I'm back then wearing my long sleeve shirt, tucked in, all formal, Molly Maid college, and
Oh, I got to see a picture of that.
and a customer called Deborah Sharkey calls me up, wants me to do an estimate. So I do an estimate. She goes, "I love the name of your company." I didn't know the history. I hadn't been in Stewart that long. And I had, but as a manager
Ah.
of Publix, I just didn't
Right.
know the 2 degrees of separation. So
Sure.
she calls me up. We end up, okay, you're going to service my home. I'm fantastic. We're going there weekly. Everything's great. I'm running the first route. So I'm cleaning that home. Here I am, not just doing the estimate, but I'm cleaning the home. So as we grow and we're continuing to service them, she has they had two or three little Yorkies, and she put a little laundry gate because they were so small to keep them out of and keep them in the laundry room actually, and so we can clean the home, but they weren't there. To Kevin and his wife Deborah. So it was just two little Yorkies behind this little gate. So we start sending teams there, and I'm growing the business, and I'm not cleaning as much. And the team calls, and they go, we can't clean this house. We're like, why? They're like, this dog wants to get over the fence. It's going to kill me. And I'm going, no way. What are you talking about? And they're like, this house is so filthy. It's so bad. I'm like, I just cleaned it a couple weeks ago. It's not that bad. And the dog's so small. Jeff, I'm telling you. So they keep calling, and they've been there for like 4 hours cleaning the house, which I could clean in an hour and a half with my partner back when I'm doing it. Well, come to find out, they have 2 homes on the property. And it happened that they went to the main house where Kevin's daughter and son, and they had a Great Dane and this dog, a black, I don't know, it was a lab or something, but it was, and it's pushing against this fence. Same scenario. But I talked to Kevin after. I go, Kevin, the team was there. What's going on? And well, what actually happened is we get a call Friday evening. Why didn't you clean my house? Kevin, we had a team there. They called. They said the house was really dirty. They spent extra time, and there's this big dog. Well, come to find out,
clean the wrong house.
He said, you're lucky that dog didn't kill your employees. That's a big, mean dog. Wow. And it was a little gate holding this dog back. And here we are getting onto our employees thinking, what did they do wrong?
Right.
And we're telling the customer, we were there. Right. We guarantee the work will come back. And so long story short, there's always 3 sides to the story. You got your employee side, the customer side, and somewhere in there's the truth. And we have absolutely true. We have absolutely learned that with our company. But if you need service, you look us up. We have a fantastic website, mollymade.com. Again, it's www.mollymade.com.
And some mighty fancy pens too.
Yeah.
And how about a contact phone number too?
Yes, and that's 772-463-1882. Again, 772-463-1882.
And it's mostly residential.
It's 100% residential. Okay. We do not do commercial. We work the employees are there available 8 to 5 Monday through Friday. So we get the best employees in the world. They can go be moms. They can have a life, not working the nights, weekends, and holidays. They're wonderful, wonderful young ladies. We do a full nationwide criminal search, sex offender search, motor vehicle search. We drug test on a random basis. They do arrive in the Molly Maid car in uniform, appropriately dressed. They work in teams of 2. They bring their equipment, supplies, and things like that. So I always say Molly Maid is a clean you can trust. We're the most professional residential cleaning company in the area. And again, if you go to the website at mollymade.com, they have tutorial videos. You can see what to expect from an estimate, what to expect from a cleaning. They're great videos. They really explain. And we do have gift certificates online. What a fantastic gift.
That's true. You're always promoting that, Mother's Day. It's much better gift than moving somebody out of town, unless you don't like your...
But know what? Dads love clean homes too.
That's true.
Dad, you'll hear me say that a lot. Dads love clean home too. So
I could just
you don't have to move them out.
A son-in-law presenting his mother-in-law with a moving gift certificate.
I've said that at a lot of the meetings. Mother's Day is coming. It's a great gift. Move somebody out of town. No one's gotten it yet, though. No one's actually taken advantage of that. But once again, we've killed a perfectly good hour, Frank.
Yes, it is dead.
McBiz is the place to do business.
Right. Jeff, thanks for hanging out with us.
Thanks
Frank,
for having
always
me.
Fun to do the show with you.
Yes.
Thanks, John. I hope you're feeling better. Yep. We'll see you next time.
Thank the Sharkies. Yes. What a great story.
Indeed. All right. Thanks again. We'll see you next week.
Ciao.